Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. There's a lovely little video, a criticism, a critique, an observation of sorts going around on the interwebs talking about video games and the current state of video game criticism that, well, I'd like to take a moment and a little talk about it from none other than a content creator that goes by Nadeshot. I don't really know who Nadeshot is, but... And I have no ill will against him, of course. We don't harass people. We go after their ideas and the things that they say and what they talk about. So let's take a little look. Let's have a listen to see what Nadeshot has to say about the current state of the video game criticism.
There's something weird that has happened in the gaming community. I'm
Do
serious
tell.
too when I say this.
He's serious, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we must sit down and silence ourselves and listen intently.
For some reason, everybody in the gaming community wants games to fail.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and pause it right there because we're going to probably do this a few times throughout this video. This idea that everyone in the gaming community wants video games to fail. Obviously, he is being a bit hyperbolic. But the idea that we want games to fail, we want the studios to fail, this is, well, objectively false. Because no, we don't want games to fail because we love playing video games. We enjoy it. It's our pastime. It's our escapism, our power fantasies to get away. And I bring this up many, many times when talking about video games and TV shows and movies. We want to get away from the nonsense of the real world, outside of our doors, outside of the news, outside of the internet. Well, in some cases, not really outside of the internet, but on the internet when it comes to the live service. But anyway, this idea that we want games to fail is nonsense. We don't want games to fail. We want these garbage tier games to stop being made. To believe otherwise is a bit disingenuous, almost like you're trying to paint a false narrative of what's going on.
It's very bizarre. Like, the whole thing with X Defiant is still, like, stumps me to this.
Now, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with X Defiant, but this broad, we can definitely put a blanket statement out there and put this on multiple games like Star Wars Outlaws, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice Leagues, these AAA games being put out by these massive studios spending hundreds of millions of dollars on video games that look like complete trash. They play like garbage, that have, in the case of the most recent Saints Row reboot, just terrible dialogue that didn't have to happen. And this is what we fight against, but let's let Nadeshot continue.
People complain about not having enough games to play.
Who complains about not having enough games to play? I do wonder where he's getting that statement from, because no, there is no shortage of video games to play, especially considering, I believe, over $100 million industry, 150, 180, I believe was a number that I've heard recently. Who actually has a shortage of good video games to play?
But when new games come out, even before they had played it, they're like, that game sucks, I'm not going to play it.
Now, I wonder what that is. Why is that? Maybe because the trailers come out and it looks absolutely atrocious. The gameplay from particular content creators who were invited out to Los Angeles to give 4 hours with Star Wars Outlaws. The gameplay is released and it looks like trash. The AI is abysmal. Why on earth would I put my money down to play something like that if what I'm seeing with my own eyes on the screen looks terrible? Are we simply supposed to fork over $50, $60, $70 at least just because the studio can make more games just like that one that we see as garbage? I don't think so.
Listen, man, if we keep tearing down these studios trying to make good games, like, yeah, not every single one is going to be fun, and not every single one is going to be fun. Trying to make good games, and that's the problem. I don't think they are trying to make good games. If they are, they're failing miserably. They need to probably hire different people with more talent, more skill, more imagination, ingenuity to make the game better from the start.
not day one, week one, month one patches where the game comes out as a buggy mess and is just unplayable half the time for people. And that's another thing that players are getting sick and tired about. Let's see. Also getting tired of predatory microtransactions in the live service games that are unfinished, where the item shop, the cash shop, oh, that works 100% fine. Yet another thing that players are getting sick and tired of. You pay $50, $60, $70 for the game, and then they want you to pay extra $10, $15 for the battle pass, an extra $10, $15 for the cosmetic skins in a game that's just a mess to play. People are getting tired of it, but let's keep going.
Every single one is going to be a hit. But if we're sitting here like preying on its downfall before the game even comes out, what do you think's going to happen? No.
Maybe, just maybe, the developers will catch wind of what people are talking about, listen to the criticism that's being put forth towards the trailer, towards the gameplay, and listen, make some adjustments on their next project. Sure, we're not trying to say that every single solitary game that comes out every day, every month, and every year needs to be a banger, needs to knock it out of the park. But what we're saying is maybe you should try listening to your potential customers, your potential fan base, someone who will be willing to pay that $70 for the game and get you the big treasure at the end of the development cycle so that you can make the next game and improve and make it better than the one you did before, instead of being preachy and insulting to the fan base when they criticize even the simplest little thing in the game.
Nobody's going to be investing in gaming and making new games.
Now, that's the most nonsensical thing I've ever heard, because the video game industry is growing every year. Maybe not the AAA studios because they're putting out hot dog water, but the indie studios, the people who actually have the love, the passion for what they are creating, they put it out there. People love it. Word of mouth carries it over the moon. Look at Five Nights at Freddy's. That franchise grew from one person, a little bitty single room game. Now it's a movie with sequels coming out and multiple games, multiple copycats as well. It practically built an entire genre. And all he did was put his heart and soul and love and passion for making an interesting story with interesting mechanics. And it grew from there. Maybe these AAA studios should try to listen and pay attention to what the indies are doing to make all their money and stop trying to change things. Stop trying to appeal to the modern audience. And maybe, just maybe, finish the game before you release it.
And you're not going to have shit to fucking play. You're going to be sitting here playing MW2 remastered edition. You're going to be sitting here trying to play fucking the same old games for the 1,000th time.
Now, why on earth would someone play the same old games for the 1,000th time? Maybe those games are fun. Maybe those games have massive replayability. That's yet another thing that the current developers should be paying attention to. What's wrong with playing the old classics?
Because these billionaires and fucking multi-billion-dollar publishers, they're not gonna greenlight any new games, any new concepts, any new.
That's a them problem, not an us problem. Because the video game industry is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. It's entertainment. It's our escapism. People will continue to put their love and passion into developing a video game, a form of entertainment, and putting it out there to the masses. Some will listen to the criticism put forth to the game and make adjustments and make their next project a lot better. Others will continue to fail because they're not listening ever.
IP. I mean, I try to put myself in the shoes of myself when I was like 16 years old, but I can't.
What's the purpose of that?
I was excited for new games when they came out.
We're still excited for new games when they come out, if they look good, if they play well, if they get good reviews, and not filled with ideological nonsense. Or, to be fair, not filled with what can be seen as ideological nonsense after gamers have been conditioned to expect certain things when they see the trailer, when they see a little red flag here and there, and then they find out what's going on behind the scenes, which adds more red flags to it, and they simply walk away from the purchase and go find something else fun to play. Remember, make it fun first. and you'd be surprised at how much money you can make.
The problem is now we have too many options. We've seen too many different games. We've seen too many different ways to interact.
Hold on a second. We have too many options, but we're still supposed to be concerned that the developers aren't going to be making games because they're failing one after another after another. I don't understand that statement entirely. We have too many options. What's wrong with having too many options? It broadens the horizon. It gives people things to play. And it's been like that for quite some time.
Interact with games. Like back in the day, bro, when in 2007, when Halo 3, Gears of War 1, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped.
He's just named good games with good mechanics, pleasing aesthetics. What's wrong with going back to those days? Going back to those tactics of making something fun, making the gameplay fun, making the story fun. We should definitely go back to that. It wouldn't be difficult either.
The same fucking year, bro, we were lined up outside of GameStops, whether it was in a mall or attached to a fucking Hollywood Video, sitting there waiting, camped out, drinking fucking Mountain Dew, waiting for these new games.
But we don't have to do that anymore, so his point is a little bit irrelevant considering the access to digital downloads. You don't have to stand in line anymore. You can buy the game digitally and then just wait and get your own physical copy. You don't have to wait in line at 12 o'clock at night for that midnight release. Now, some may consider that unfortunate. Some have no problem with it. But the age of the digital download has done away with that aspect. We don't have to wait. We don't have to camp out. We get it immediately at 12 p.m. release, 11 p.m. for some people, 1 p.m. a.m., depending on what time zone you're in. So I don't understand quite that part of the argument, but let's keep going.
For the midnight release, everybody was so excited about it.
We still have midnight releases, Nate Shot. They're still there. There's still people who take off work for those quote-unquote midnight releases. Those have not gone away.
Now when new games come out, we're fucking sitting around a goddamn fire witch artifact, like doing a satanic ritual for the game to fail miserably. I don't really get it.
Well, then you haven't been paying attention, Nade. You don't get it because you haven't been paying attention. I believe, my understanding, he plays first-person shooters, Valorant, and a couple other ones that he named. So, no, you're not going to understand it. A first-person shooter just needs to be a fun... it just needs to be a fun experience. It needs to have good mechanics, a good dodge system, good, what is it? Time to kill? Yeah, TTK. How many shots does this weapon have? How many shots does that weapon have? It should be the easiest thing as far as first-person shooters. Get the maps done right, get the mechanics done, the leaderboards, all that other stuff. All these other games, the role-playing games that require, I don't know, I don't want to sit there and say they require more thought. No, I'm not going to insult first-person shooters. They're fun for people out there, just like sports games are, RPGs are. There's a game out there for everyone, but what I'm getting at is we have had a string of games. The trailer comes out, and gamers have been conditioned. Oh, look, female protagonist. Well, it's going to be, quote-unquote, woke. It's going to be ideologically driven. We're going to get the strong woman, the powerful female character. Unfortunately, that's how gamers see it because of the conditioning that has happened, was one game after another that has showcased the female protagonist has been garbage. We'd like to get away from that. Now, just because you change the female protagonist to a male protagonist, that's not going to make those games good. The dialogue is garbage. The gameplay is garbage. The gameplay loop is garbage. The story is garbage. It's all around garbage. Glitches, graphical hiccups, one after another. And after seeing it so many times, over and over and over again, gamers are sick and tired of it. So they're going to voice their opinion. They're going to talk about what they don't like, what they're not interested in, the preachy ideological nonsense, and they're going to walk away from those games, making female characters more and more ugly with every single video game coming out. You may disagree with that statement, but hey, when the vast majority of your potential customer base feels that way, that's not a customer base problem. That's a developer problem. It's just as simple as that. When more and more gamers start closing their wallets because of nonsense they don't care for, that they don't want to play, and they'll go find something to throw their money at. It's time for the developers to listen, and it doesn't matter. You think it's weird, you don't understand it. Well, maybe you should wake up and start paying attention to the things that people are actually saying. Of course, you're going to have trolls out there that just say, oh, let's woke, strong wham, blah, 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 all that other stuff. You're going to have that across the board, across all aspects of entertainment. You weed through those and you listen to the actual criticism that's still getting shut down as nonsense, as bigotry and hatred and misogyny and blah, blah. Eventually, the studio is going to listen, or they'll just go away, and someone will come up to take their place. An indie studio will make it big on one little game, or some independent guy in his garage at home makes Five Nights at Freddy's or the like, and that game just blows up beyond any logical reason, and suddenly becomes a movie franchise, a massive IP. It's not the first time, it will not be the last time something like that happens. And as long as the game is fun, we'll be there to promote it all the way to the moon. But if it's trash, because we're tired of trash, we're going to call it for what it is. This whole idea of just consume product and get excited for next product is dying. It's going away, folks. And I'm here to roast marshmallows over the burning carcass of the studios that did not listen. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTubers beg you to do. And I hope to see you on the next one.